Do you think it was really necessary for Ghana to raise the issue of the transatlantic slave trade and ask for apology and reparations at the United Nations General Assembly?
If you should ask me that question, I would say no, it wasn't necessary. So the UK or the United States, it wasn't necessary for them to render any kind of apology because we still have to know who was actually responsible for the slave trade, who perpetrated it, and who permitted that to happen. If we have permitted it to happen, why are we holding somebody responsible for it? It was a trade. We merchandise ourselves. If you sell something to me, you make your profit and you go away. It means you've released all those goods or those items to me. So you don't care what I'm going to do with it. The slave trade. Of course, we were not there when it happened. It may have happened to our ancestors or those who came before us in the continent. But physically, we didn't say it. So what we have read is history. But the history that we've been told, are those histories complete? Do we understand everything of the slave trade? Who perpetrated it? And who gave the permission for that trade to go on? So just waking up and going to the United Nations, asking for countries or asking the United Nations to recognize it and make those who were responsible to render some form of apology, pay some compensation. Who are those people in the first place? In the first place, slave trade has been abolished for so many years, so it wasn't necessary at this time.
Hello. Welcome to Jafek Radio Extra, Jafek Radio Studios. This is our continuing edition of the coverage of the United Nations General Assembly's resolution on the transatlantic slave trade that took place roughly a little bit over 200 years ago. The slave trade in itself lasted for a period of 400 years and was abolished around the late 17th, 18th century thereabout. That was when the slave trade was abolished. The President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Mahama, moved a motion for the highest or the biggest decision-making body of the United Nations, that's the General Assembly, to vote on the issue whether the countries that were involved in the slave trade should render apology and pay some form of reparations to African countries back then. Before we continue, I begin with the quotes from the 1972 book of Walter Rodnick, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. And I read a quote for you. Horses were among the high-value goods imported by African elites, particularly in the Sudanic regions, and were frequently valued significantly higher than standard commodities, sometimes costing multiple captives. I take that again. This is a quote in the book written by Walter Rodney in 1972 titled How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. Horses were among the high-valued goods imported by African elite, particularly in the Sudanic regions, and were frequently valued significantly higher than standard commodities, sometimes costing multiple captives. So what this technically means is that a number of, and in fact, if you read the book, about between 15 to 20 human beings, African human beings, were used to exchange for one horse, pongo. So the slave traders come in with one horse, and then they take 15 African slaves at the time of the transatlantic slave trade. And this issue was brought forth by Ghana's president, His Excellency John Mahama, before the United Nations General Assembly for the House to vote on the issue. And as we've already told you, 123 member states of the United Nations voted in favor, 52 abstained. Mathematically, the 27 member states of the European Union abstained from the vote, and together with the likes of Japan and other nations abstained from the vote. 3 voted against the motion, and the 3 were the United States of America, Argentina, and Israel. And the position of Israel and Argentina, as well as the United States, have well been told. The leader of the Conservative Party in the United Kingdom, a woman who is of Nigerian descent, born in the United Kingdom, schooled in Lagos in Nigeria, says that the UK should have voted against the motion put forward by the President of the Republic of Ghana. Quite shocking. And also, the people of Israel, or the nation of Israel, have also spoken about the reason why they voted against the motion put forward by Ghana. And their reason is that they feel that if they vote to support the position of Ghana, it means that they are relegating the suffering of their own people to the background. And when you talk about the suffering of their own people, they are referring to the Holocaust, where Jews went under atrocious conditions or treatment under the during the leadership or the period of Adolf Hitler in Germany. And so they have attributed that to part of the reasons why that they did not vote in favor of the motion. And then subsequently, a number of countries in the world, especially some countries in Africa, have sharply criticized Ghana that they do not understand why after the European Union, all the 27 member states of the European Union decided not to participate in the voting process for this particular motion, the nation of Ghana has gone to sign a partnership agreement with the European Union. And I'm going to go straight to the website of the European Union and read to you an article that was published on the 24th of March 2026. And the headline reads, press release on the signing of a security and defense partnership and hand over EPF military equipment. The European Union and the Republic of Ghana today signed a security and defense partnership in Accra, marking a significant step in deepening their dialogue and cooperation on peace, security, and defense. The security and defense partnership was signed by EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Kaja Kallas, on behalf of the European Union, and the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Her Excellency Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. The EU and Ghana have a long-standing partnership rooted in shared value, joint commitment to multilateralism, democracy, good governance, and the rule of law. In an increasing complex global and regional security environment, security and prosperity are closely interconnected. Together, the EU and Ghana are committed to addressing traditional and emerging threats from regional instability and terrorism to hybrid and cyber threats or maritime security. Now, I read to you the quote as put forward by Kaja Kallas, the EU High Representative who signed agreement with Her Excellency Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman for Ghana, on behalf of Ghana. And I quote him, and he says, security in EU and Africa, or security in Europe and Africa, are directly connected. That is why we are signing the first security and defense partnership with an African nation, Ghana. Together, the EU and Ghana will work closely on issues that matter to our citizens, including counter-terrorism, conflict prevention, and cybersecurity. Our partnership is already bearing fruit, with the EU handing over additional military equipment to keep Ghanaians safe. Strong partnership that deliver for both sides will always be the best route to mutual and durable security. So this is a statement that was published on the website of the European Union. And this particular move by the Republic of Ghana has generated controversial talking point among member states of the United Nations, who do not understand why a country like or an association like the European Union, which did not support the move, Ghana has now gone into sign a partnership agreement with them just days after what transpired in the United Nations General Assembly. Very soon I'll be moving over to the phone line to bring into the conversation Mr. Fred Gyekye Mensah, who is an executive member of the Ghana Association here in Japan, and he's going to tell us what he makes of the move by Ghana one, and does he feel that it was really important for Ghana to raise the motion before the United Nations General Assembly for former slave owners or slave countries that got involved in the slave trade to render an apology and also pay some form of reparations to the African countries? Does he think was really necessary? What does he make of the position of Israel and that of the Nigerian woman Kemi Badenoch and what she said? And then lastly, the agreement that was signed between the Republic of Ghana and the European Union, does he see that as a conflict of interest or in any shape or form, as many of the African countries are criticizing Ghana for doing that? And before I bring in Mr. Fred Gyekye Mensah, let me remind you that this is here, it's live on Jafric Radio Studios and Jafric Radio Extra. Please don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms. We are live on YouTube on Jafric Radio Studios and Jafric Radio Extra. Plus, we are also on Instagram and on Facebook as well. The program is proudly sponsored by ICSG Group. Your prompt insurance claims will be made available or to you when you contact them right there in Ghana. We're also supported by Bayside Modeling Agency as well as Mama Effie Saloon in Saitama, together with Amazing Grace Enterprise. Mr. Fred Gyekye Mensah, please, thank you very much for joining us on Jafric Radio. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, doing fantastic here.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to ask you, do you think it was really necessary for Ghana to raise the issue of the Transatlantic Slave Trade and ask for apology and reparations at the United Nations General Assembly? Do you think it was really a necessary move, especially looking at current events in the world?
I actually don't know what made the president make that decision, but if you should ask me that question, I would say no, it wasn't necessary. And we probably didn't need to do that. Yeah. So if you are asking me that question, that will be my answer. We should have we should have considered so many things before doing that. So it wasn't necessary at this time.
What are some of the things you think that Ghana should have considered before, and why do you think it was not necessary for the president to put forward that motion before the UN?
In the first place, why this time? Why this time? This slave trade has been abolished for so many years. So nobody brought this forward. And before I move on, let me bring in this Israeli issue of abstaining or voting no. Of course, they had a good point. If there was anything for the UN to recognize, then their atrocities that they also faced should have been one of those issues. So they didn't see the reason why to support a motion of that kind. Now, the slave trade issue, in the first place, I mean, I still cannot understand why the president made that move. Why was it necessary? Have you thought through that issue? What was this slave trade in the first place? Who were those responsible for that? And why should the Americans or the Western society or, the world as a nation be responsible for that and render some kind of apology, pay whatever compensation that we might be demanding? So if you have to analyze it, who were responsible for that act? Before you require someone to give an apology, who were responsible for that act or who were responsible for that trade? Did we analyze this before the president went to the United Nations? I'm not sure. Because there are so many questions around it. I mean, like you was saying, we've read history about the slave trade. Of course, we were not there when it happened. It may have happened to our ancestors or I mean, those who came before us in the continent. But physically, we didn't say it. So what we have read is history. But the history that we've been told, are those histories complete? Those history that we've been told, are they complete? Do we understand everything of the slave trade? Who perpetrated it? And who gave the permission for that trade to go on? You see, we've not delved into all those things and see who was actually responsible for it and who permitted it to go on. So just waking up and going to the United Nations, asking for countries or asking the United Nations to recognize it and make those who were responsible to render some form of apology, pay some compensation. I mean, who are those people in the first place? So, for me, in my opinion, our president should have let some noble and some wise minds in the country to have thought about it for some time before making that decision. So that's my input.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. So, in effect, are you agreeing with the position of the leader of the Conservative Party in the UK, Kemi Badenoch, who says that, for instance, the United Kingdom fought fiercely to help in the ending of the slave trade, and that the current institutions cannot be held responsible for the crimes that were committed some 400 years ago in terms of the slave trade. So because it didn't take place now, it took place in the past, the current institutions in the UK and America and in Europe cannot be held responsible. Do you agree with her position?
You see, in her case too, she's talking based on the history that he has been told or the history that he knows. I mean, just like I was saying, we all don't have full history of the slave trade. So he is talking from some point that the UK fought hard to see the abolition of the slave trade or whatever. But if you should go into details, somehow she could be right if she was in a point of looking for who was responsible for the actual act. If that was what was his point, then he could be right by saying that. Because I myself too, I would agree that it wasn't necessary. So the UK or the United States, it wasn't necessary for them to render any kind of apology. Because we still have to know who was actually responsible for the slave trade, who perpetrated it, and who permitted that to happen. I hope you are getting my point.
Yeah, I'm getting your point. So, per what you are saying, some Africans were involved, and as I read to you from in the book published by Walter Rodney in 1972, there were African leaders, African traders who were also involved in the slave trade at the time. So it wasn't just an offense committed by the Europeans who came in to look for the slaves. They had collaborators, and their collaborators were Africans. So are you saying that because Africans were also complicit in the crime in terms of selling their own people to the Europeans, like I mentioned to you, so an African trader could take one horse, and then in exchange take between 15 to 20 human beings and then give them to the Europeans? Are you saying that because Africans also participated in this act, the Europeans or the Americans do not owe any apology or any reparations to any African nations, and that's why you feel it wasn't necessary for the president of Ghana to raise the point in the first place?
Yes. If you should ask me that question, my question is yes. Those Africans who participated in that, have we punished them? Have we looked for them? And have we made them understand their responsibility towards their own people? Don't forget that we still have slave trade in Africa. It's been abolished in the European countries or in the United States, but still Africa, we're still practicing slave trade. Do you agree with this? We still have it there right now at the moment.
Can you please throw more light on that?
For example, if someone should bring people from other parts of the country to one side and say, I want you to help me, I want you to work on the cocoa farm, I want you to work on the rice farm, by not giving them standard salaries or taking actual care of them by giving them what he likes and feeding them, just keeping them there, not educating, nothing. What do you think that is? It's slave trade. We call people at home maidservant, manservant. They are there just to serve the wife, husband, and children. And he himself, they don't take good care of that person. You see, nothing is paid about him. Until they are fed up, then they ask the person to go. So what is that? Is that not slave trade? Is that not slavery? See, so if we go into details, analyzing things one by one, we can see that a lot of these issues were perpetrated by us. We permitted it to happen. So if we have permitted it to happen, why are we holding somebody responsible for it? It was a trade. We merchandise ourselves. You get my point? So if merchandise occurred between two people, merchandise occurs between two people, and once a profit is made on it, the merchandise becomes what? It's activated. So if you sell something to me, you make your profit and you go away. It means you've released all those goods, all those items to me. So you don't care what I'm going to do with it. You don't care what I'm going to do with it. Yes, it becomes mine. It's no more for you. But it happens that this is in relationship to human species. So evolution took places. People begin to think. People begin to reason, and we came to know that the act of doing merchandise with human species wouldn't help anybody, and it wouldn't help the whole world, and it wouldn't help the human race. So it was thought upon, and these buyers, those who were buying those slaves, they thought about it and abolished it. Give me an example. When Lincoln was signing that emancipation of slavery, were there any black man there? Were there any African? No. It was those who were buying it. They saw it that it wasn't a good way of trading because this is involved with human species. So they abolished it. So my point here is, if there were Africans involved in the slave trade, they merchandise their own people. Have we found those people and have we found those calls? Look for those who were responsible there, then ask them to apologize to their own people and recognize that that system of trading didn't help us. Have we done that? So then why do we have to hold the buyers responsible to give us compensation, render apology, when they have given us our profit that we deserved already? Are you getting my point, host?
I get your point. I get your point.
So this is my input. The president, before sending that in motion to the UN, I mean, like I said, you should have delved into the issue. I mean, think about it. So ask yourself, I mean, why did it happen in our country? Why did it happen in the first place? Who helped those buyers to buy those human species or human beings and transport them? Who helped them? Was it one person? Was it the whole chief? And have you heard in any history that when they came, they killed every elderly people or elderly person in a town and took away all the young ones by force? No, we haven't gotten any history of that sort by this time. So the question is, who helped them? Who organized the people at a point where they were easily transported on the sea to overseas? So these are some of the questions we need to ask ourselves. You see, then look for responsibilities before we can send it to the buyers and ask them, you bought something wrong or you bought something without carefully thinking about it. So these are my input. I mean, we can deal a lot about it, but I don't support the president doing that at this moment. Thank you.
So that is a very, very astute point. I don't think that most people have really thought about this point or even discussed it, especially bringing into being the point that the sellers, in this case the African slave traders, the ones who were taking the goods, the ones who were profiteering from the trade, have not actually, like, no one has said anything to them, no one has identified them. Because like it takes two to tango. They came, they bought the slaves from our fellow African brothers and sisters and mothers and uncles and like all of those people at the time. And today here we are just going to the buyers and saying to them that, look, you guys perpetrated a crime, but 2 people committed a crime. It was our own people. So they also participated in their their commitment of the crime. So I get your point. If you are watching the program, you are live on Jafric Radio Studios, Jafric Radio Extra. We are speaking to Mr. Fred Gyekye Mensah, who is an executive member of the Ghana Association here in Japan, and he's giving us some really deep thoughts about the recent motion that was put forward before the United Nations General Assembly by Ghana's President, His Excellency John Mahama, concerning the transatlantic slave trade and the request for apology and some form of reparations to African countries. And Mr. Fred Gyekye Mensah has been sharing his opinion on the subject matter. I agree with his position a lot. The last time we had Mr. Jermaine Nkrumah also here sharing his opinion, but I think that Mr. Fred Gyekye Mensah has given us an interesting perspective on the subject matter. And I mean, you can let us know what you think in the comment section by putting your comment in the comment section. Like the video, share with your friends and family members who should also express the opinion on this particular subject matter. I'm going back to Mr. Fred Gyekye Mensah on the criticism that has been raining on Ghana. A lot of people are criticizing Ghana and saying that, look, you people went to the UN and said that the European nations and America should apologize and pay reparations for what they did in terms of the slave trade. But just a day after, you were signing an agreement with the EU, an association or organization that refused to participate in the voting process. Do you think that Ghana has betrayed the 123 member states who voted in favor of the motion that these people should render apology and also pay reparations to Africa? Do you think Ghana has let them down?
Okay. Well, I think there are 2 issues here. So those African countries, I mean, who have sort of raised their knives against Ghana, I think they should let it down, because there are 2 issues here. That motion that the president signed and the security issues, I think they're not very much related. So they should let their kind of anger down and deal with the situation. I mean, the way it should, or the related issues. Now, before I move on, I wanted to add a point to, the issue that Americans should, or the Western society, or the buyers of the slave trade should render some form of apology. Recently, I was talking to a friend in the motherland, Ghana, and you know what she said? She mentioned one country's name. Okay, let me specify China. He said, "Oh, these Chinese people, they came to spoil our water bodies. We can't have water to drink, and everything is spoiling. They brought their bulldozers to bulldoze some things. All the water bodies are condemned, contaminated. Everything is going bad." This was her comment. Okay, so I referred her to some month or a year ago. The Chinese ambassador once said the Chinese did not come to Ghana and went to the villages and started digging gold or dredging gold or whatever. So if we are making those statements, we should consider who brought them. This is what the Chinese ambassador was saying. And I agreed with him. So I said to my friend that it wouldn't be more than 10 years, the country Ghana would point its fingers to China that the Chinese came and spoiled their water bodies. And if that history is not erased, or if we let it go, with time, it will become like what is happening now with the slave trade, that all blames are being put on the buyers. So if we leave it like that, a time will come, all blame will be putting on the Chinese that they came and spoiled our water bodies. Yes. But we've forgotten that we brought them. We initiated those businesses and we allowed them to come And we've shown them how to do it and the way to do it without considering our own situations and our own way of living. So they did what we have instructed them to do. But part of the society is blaming them that they brought their bulldozers, their machines, whatever, and begin contaminating the water bodies. So what are we saying? What are we trying to say to the world? Is it their fault? And we are rather blaming them. With time, it will become like just what this slave trade issue is going about. We will blame them. So you can see that we are shifting our responsibility on somebody. You see? So for these African countries to blame Ghana or to hold Ghana responsibility or say they have betrayed others, in a way, in a paradox, they could be right. Because you can put one motion asking for somebody to bear responsibility for it, at the same time, go behind the doors and talk in different terms and ask that person to guarantee you security or guarantee you some a firm relationship. You see, there are two things going on here. And that's why I'm asking them to let their anger down a little bit, because if they go if they go into details, what is going to happen? Politics is going to shadow everything. And they are still going to blame Ghana that why should they do those, put one motion to the world body, before the world body, then come here and have a different motion or have a different agreement with one sector. You see? So, yeah, that's why I said in a paradoxically, they could be right, but don't let us mix these two issues because they are separate issues altogether. With the UN motions, we did not demand for security guarantees or whatever. We are asking for reparations and compensations, apology or whatever. And that would take in the form of different species to overcome that. But here, we are asking for security to guarantee the welfare of both nations or continents. So there are two separate issues here, and I will let them bring their anger down a little bit, but I'm not going to condemn them that they are wrong. Okay, thank you.
So, do you also agree with the people who belong to the school of thought that look, you have gone to the UN, you are asking countries like America, the UK, Germany, Portugal, and like the Netherlands, those who were involved in the slave trade and colonialism, to pay some form of reparations and then render apology to you. But here in this case, in 2026, you are still allowing multinationals from these same countries to come to your country, mine your resources, take them away, and they are giving you 5%, 2%, some of them 1%, some of them are not even giving you anything. They are just doing that in exchange of construction of facilities. So in the past, 400 years ago, they were taking away your human resources to go and develop their countries. This time around, they've come back. You are allowing them to take your natural resources, your gold, your diamond, your bauxite, your oil. They are mining it and taking it for virtually for free. And here you are not resolving this issue. You have gone to the UN to go and ask them to apologize for taking away your human resources, but here in the case they are taking your natural resources away. What's your position on people who also come from this particular standpoint?
I don't have a position against them, but I would rather side with them because they are right by saying, you see, what I'm saying is we are trying to shift our responsibility on somebody or on something that we cannot understand their position. We are shifting our responsibilities. Let's assume these people came and took us by force to help them build their societies. Okay, let's assume it that way. So let's assume that they forced the trade upon us. Let's assume it that way. Okay, then with time we started making noise. It is not good. It's not helping us. It's derailing us. It's taking away everything that we have. And they agreed and stopped. Okay. So now they have stopped for so many years. Then the colonization came in. That was, they came to sort of rule us in our own land. This time, they won't take us away, but they will rule us. That was what happened in colonization. Okay. With that too, we started screaming. We started making noise. It's not helping us. We are matured enough. We can take care of ourselves. So put everything down and go back. We did this. Yes. And they granted what? They granted us independence. Okay. So two things happening here. Now, today, those systems are no more there. Let's say they've relented them. Now, we have gone to them and asked them to come back and mine our industries, mine our minings, dredge our gold for us, and give us the percentage that you want, not what we want. You get my point? Now, besides this, they left their doors open. We have brought ourselves to their land to be slaves somehow for them. They've allowed us to enter their countries. They've allowed us to do whatever that we can. Some of us have educated ourselves there. Some of us have started businesses there. Some of us have settled. Majority of us even don't want to go back to our motherland. We are even forced into getting to them, into even their government. This is what we are doing there. Still, they are allowing us to do all this. They are not using force to drive us away. So, what kind of compensation do we need more than this? They've allowed us to come into them. Education, money. So, what kind of compensation do we need beside this? We went and brought them in to sort of dig our golds, mine our oils, do whatever for us. At their own terms, we did that. So where is our responsibility? What are we trying to tell them? Why do we go behind them and put it before the world body that asks them to pay us compensations or say they are sorry? For what? I hope you are getting my point. We are not bringing ourselves.
I'm following you.
We are bringing ourselves to them to be slaves for them. They've asked, even when they close their doors, when they say they're not going to give us visas and all those things, we'll still try to force it open by going through different methods, and we end up killing our own selves, dying on the sea, dying in the forest, paying unnecessary ransom to unnecessary business people with the assumption that they can give us permission to enter those countries that those countries of whom we are accusing them of wrongdoings. We still want to go into them, then serve them as slaves. All this, they are looking at us. They've said nothing. They've permitted all these things to go on. So my point here is, what kind of compensation or what kind of operations do we want from them when we have shifted away from our own responsibility and blaming them for things that we permitted it to happen to us? You see? So there are so many things that we Africans, we have to sit down, think about ourselves. Yes, and make a lot of corrections. Yes, Africans, we need to think and make corrections ourselves, shoulder our own responsibilities, and know that the land is for us. So we don't have to sit somewhere bringing people to do whatever they want or to work for us. Then we later say the work that you did for us didn't go well, so pay us compensation. Look, it doesn't work that way. I mean, it's not logical for me. You see? So the president putting such kind of motions, I'm telling you, he should have let some intelligent or some wise people in the system to consider so many things before sending that to the world body and putting it before them.
Okay, so you are talking about African leadership, and I don't know if you can see my background here. I have Patrick Mulumba, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Okay. So I have in my background here Nelson Mandela, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Patrick Bulumba, Kofi Annan, and the rest. Do you think that at this point in our generation, Africa is somehow suffering from the quality of leadership in terms of Africa, as if we compare to the time of Nkrumah, where Mulumba, Sankara, very, very strong leadership, and they were tilting Africa towards a certain tangent. Do you think that in our generation, in our time, Africa lacks that quality leadership who can stand up to the Europeans and say that no, this is the direction we want to go, we will not permit that, as we saw or as we read about or we heard from our fathers in the 60s and 70s and probably in the late 50s? Do you think that now there's set of quality leadership in Africa?
Yes. My answer is simply yes.
Why?
Yes.
Why is that?
Well, in the first place, we have to understand who we are and where we are from, where we live. Those people that you just mentioned, Nkrumah, Mandela, Sankara, Lumumba, you see, they were those few intelligent enough that, let's say, the Almighty Creator created and allowed them to come through our lands or our system. And did we look at them well? No. They were killed through our own selves. Don't forget this. Yes, we allowed them to be caught and killed or whatever. Let me put it that way. So the point is, have we stood on our feet to defend our own motherland or the place that we live? Have we done that? I gave an examples. They came in to rule us. That was colonization, right?
Yes.
Let's assume they came in with force. But colonization didn't start by them forcing us. No. They were able to identify some things in the system that they thought they could manage it properly for us. That's why they came in and colonized us. Am I wrong?
You are not.
This is what happened. And with time, we got to know that we are matured enough, we can handle our own issues, we can handle our own affairs. So enough is enough. Please leave it behind and let us take care of ourselves. This is the kind of promise, or this is the kind of message we sent to them. So majority of them left and gave us what we called independence. So you would ask yourself, asking somebody for your own independence, then later going to that person to give you money to buy food or to give you the food that he has planted in his own land to eat, or giving clothes of what he has made. Whereas he knew that when he was ruling us or when he was colonizing us, all those items could be made or could be found in our own system. So we told them we are matured, we can take care of us, so go. They left. But the same things that they left with us, we couldn't handle them. And rather, we've come back to ask them to give us part of what they have in their system to eat. So what is wrong here? What is wrong here, and what is wrong with the Africans? You see, they've not captured our confidence, but they have captured the root of our reasoning. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. The root of our reasoning. In other words, they've captured our logic. Yes. And generation upon generation, that's what they've been using. They are very much aware that what they did for us were some good things that they did in our system, but because our logic is we like what is there, we don't want to suffer, we don't want to work on the land, we don't want to start anything from the beginning, we don't want to explore, but we like what has been made. That is, we like already made. So they have that notion about us. So they are waiting for us to come again and ask them to come and do something in our land. This time it won't be colonization, but it will be kind of mental slavery or kind of intelligent erosion, whatever you can name them. So you can say that, have we educated our own self as Africans? Have we done that? Have we delved into our own land to know that whatever that we want from the Western world or we want from these white people, the Americans, whoever, we have everything in the system, but have we worked on it to know that we can do it if we come together as one or as Africans, or if we understand ourselves and know that it's our own responsibility to do that? So yes, Africa, we lack leadership, we lack quality leadership, and we have imposed upon our systems that are not compatible with us. And until we erode those systems away, or until we put them aside, or until we re-devise it to assimilate into the system well, to be compatible with us, it's still going to go long way. We always look for quality leaders. When we have them within us, but have not identified them and trained them, or have not given them voice to come up and speak out, until we are able to do all those things, my brother, well, I don't know, maybe don't want to place a case or whatever, but it will take generations before Africa will realize that responsibility is in its own hands. Yeah, thank you.
So we've been speaking to Mr. Fred Gyekye Mensah, who has some very, very strong and interesting opinions on the Transatlantic Slave Resolution that was put forward before the United Nations General Assembly by Ghana's President, His Excellency John Mahama. And let me say here that I agree with most of the points that he's raised here. And I mean, he's basically talking about house cleaning, that before we go out to accuse the Europeans or the Americans, or in the future before we will accuse the Chinese people, let us look at our own selves and try to work on ourselves before we go out and accuse outsiders. I think that I agree with most of the position that he's espoused in this interview. This is Jafric Radio Live. We are on YouTube at Jafric Radio Studios, Jafric Radio Extra. We're also on Facebook and as well as Instagram. Before I turn up my last question to Mr. Fred Gyekye Mensah and wrapping up the interview, let me remind you that this program is proudly sponsored by ICSG Group, your prompt insurance claim company in Ghana. If you have any insurance claim and you want it to be done promptly for you, contact ICSG Group in Ghana. We also sponsored by Mama Amazing Grace Enterprise in Saitama, as well as Mama Efe Saloon, also in Saitama, and Bayside Modeling Agency. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Put your comment in the comment section. The name of the platform is Jafric Radio Extra and Jafric Radio Studios. My name is Emmanuel Achirko, and my guest today has been the very expressive Mr. Fred Gyekye Mensah. And I'm going back to my guest, Mr. Fred. Wrapping up, what do you also make of the opinion of people who believe that, look, our leaders sit and make big statements, but when meetings like the AU sessions and others take place, we have members from the European Union and other Western organizations come to sit in and listen to our policies and our decisions. But here in this case, when they are having their own sessions at the EU and others like those in the Americas, CARICOMs, they do not invite Africans to go in there because technically they do not respect us. Do you think that the time has come for the AU or Africans to say that, look, when we are taking critical decisions concerning African citizens, we don't need you guys to sit in the meeting? Do you think that the time has come? And do you also feel that Africa has the type of bold men to say that, look, the next time the AU is sitting, we do not want EU members to come in and listen to our conversation? Do you think that that point, we've gotten to that point and we can really act in that direction?
Well, I think if we exchange those kind of conversation or those kind of words, it will rather create an animosity between us. But let me pick one point where you said the Africans, they don't invite us into meetings because they don't respect us, or yes, they could be right. Let me give you one example. Let's say in your household, okay, beside your own children, you maybe bring in an adopted child and you begin to train the child, and the child grows up. And when you look at his movement, his intelligence, his IQ, whatever, maybe within your children, you put that child in the middle. Let's say he's in the average of your own children that you have trained. Okay. All right. Then one day, this child gets independent and goes somewhere, and you happen to sit with your wife trying to make maybe a big decision for the family, because maybe you are grown-ups, you probably want to relegate some things to your children. Then this child that you adopted and trained before sent you a note and said, "Oh, Daddy, can I become part of that decision making with your children?" You're probably not going to say no, but you're probably going to say, not so much important. Did you agree with me?
Yes.
Why am I saying that? It's because these people have trained us. They have trained us. They know us, and they know what we are looking for. When they were training us, we did not expose to them what we have in our land or what we can do for ourselves. Rather, we absorb what they are saying and what they are teaching us as the soul and the basis of our thoughts. Then they come to understand us. They come to know that we have left what we have, or we have kind of put it aside, but absorbed what they have. So if we are going to sit in a meeting of what they already know, what do you think they would expect us to say? Are you getting my point here, brother?
Yes. Yes.
What do you think they would expect us to say? Because they know that they gave us the training. They know how we're thinking. They know that we've accepted their way as our foundation, as our basis. So if they should invite us into their meetings, they already know what we're going to say. They already know.
Yeah.
They taught us the foundation. So what else do we expect them to accept our inputs? Look, our education is mostly imported from them. Our education is mostly imported from them. I know West Africa, so let me talk about West Africa. Our education is imported from them. They wrote every book for us. Go to the schools, they do a lot of subjects when they've not practically seen them before. The society has written its constitution based on the language they gave us. And I'm telling you, some of this language interpretation is still difficult for most of us in the system. We still cannot grasp the fundamental meaning of those words that we've used and have written it in our constitution. And this is what we are using to rule ourselves. So what good can we do? And in this case, we have sort of polarized our own society, giving part that could not rise up to the education that we have imported, looking at them as inferior class of our own system. And we've accepted that too. a lot of intelligence are being eroded away in the downstream there. So my point is, they know what we are thinking. They know what we think. They know what we can produce from our own brains. Because it's the education that they've given us. They gave us the foundation of our education. So what do you think they would expect us to produce? But if we had trained our own self, let me give you another example. Let's say you're going to meet people, you have your old school friends there at one side. Then you have friends you did not know, you don't know their educational background, and there's an event that you have to meet them. Now, what would be your expectation from those people that you don't know, and your expectation from those that you know as an old friends? Think about this in your own mind. What would be your expectation? You will probably be eager. You will probably be eager to meet those that you haven't met before, because you're expecting something new. You would expect to learn something new. You would expect to have some new ideology or whatever. But those old friends, you say, "Oh, it's okay. They are busy. They cannot turn up. It's okay. Somehow I know them. They are my old friends, so it's okay. It's fine." This is what you're probably going to struggle with. So it's the same thing. They know us. They have trained our leaders. We are using their constitution in our land. We are using their rules, their methods, their almost everything, their education. They gave it to us. And they know the level by which we have trained ourselves with their own system. They know that still we're not up to their level. They gave us the education, but still we've not used it to the level of their standard or to the quality that they want. Then how would you expect them to invite somebody like that into a meeting that they have organized? You see, that's what I'm saying.
It's really
If
interesting.
sorry, were you saying something?
I'm saying that it's really interesting.
Yes. So Africans, my point is, we need to think about ourselves. You see, why I'm saying this, when I was before my teenage years, I lived in a town somewhere in central region, and I was living in somebody's house. In Ghana, we call some people brass smith, people
Sure.
who use metals, who can use metals
Yeah.
to, design so
Yes.
many
Yes.
things.
Yes. That's it. Yeah.
Yes. And by that time, this person I'm talking about, he has used that trade and has built a huge mansion in that town. And besides that, he was a farmer actually. So most of the farm products also was part of his income. And you know what surprised me? This guy could use his intelligence to build something like a pistol, go to the bush at night and kill animals or whatever. And of course, the same pistol could kill people too. And most of the time, people were afraid of this guy because he could build pistol with his intelligence, with the kind of trade that he has. I was a very small boy then, and when I grew up into a boys' school, I thought about this and I said, hey, why can't the country look for people like this man, maybe train them to be more professionals or more efficient in what they are doing, so we can use those intelligence to build things for ourselves in our own defense. This was my thought then, you see. And I'm telling you, nobody looked for such a person. And he's dead and gone. You see,
Wow.
this guy didn't travel to overseas, he didn't go anywhere. We have had people of his type a lot in the system. We've not taken care of them, and most of them have probably died or gone or have left to different societies. So the question is, do we respect what we have? Or do we respect what God has given us? We have sold our logic. Yes, and these white people too have captured our logic. So they know what we want. We couldn't research into the soil, write the information that we get from our experiments there, and use that as an education to teach our own people. So they just brought us the book that they have already prepared and asked us to use to teach ourselves. So they know what we are teaching. Yes, they know our intelligence. They know how far we can read. It's what they have prepared for us. They've captured our logic. You see? So it's hard for them to, bring us on the table and discuss anything with us because they already know. And they know that we like it when they prepare for us. In a way, we've looked at ourselves as inferior before them. Yes. Yeah. So to finish everything, before Africa, I said it earlier on, before we can develop ourselves, we still have to come together as one. And the most important thing is the leadership rules that I don't know, I can't say we've stolen from them. We've asked them to impose upon us. In this case, political administration. We probably have to put it aside for some time, develop our own system, then make sure we have educated ourselves, trained ourselves to meet their standard. Africans once had, and that was those days, even before the slave trading. You see, the slave trade came about due to our hospitality. Yes, we were very hospitable. So a lot of advantages were taken over that, and that was misused. If Mahama should go back in history and say that they took advantage of our hospitality or our kindness, our soft-heartedness, and misused it, somehow I can understand him. That's why I was saying he should probably have made some thoughtful people in the system think about the whole issue before sending that motions. You see, so we need to reorganize our system well, be proud of what we have, and know that we can do things with our own intelligence by digging into it. If I don't know, I have to come and ask you. If you don't know, you have to come and ask me. If we don't know, we have to do what? Find it through research work. Africans, we're not doing that. We always want what is already done. What these Europeans or these Americans have already done it. Then we go for it. So you can see that our logic is go for what is already done. Don't go into the soil and dig it. You see? Let's talk about these mining systems. When you go to the villages, we call something those manholes in the deep forests. Who made those holes? How were ancestors able to know that there were minerals there? So they began digging long, deep holes. And ask yourself, how were they able to dig those long, deep holes? How were they able to come out? See, the intelligence was there, but have we developed the African intelligence during those days? No. So when the white men came in, they captured our logic to know that we want what is already made. So they won't allow us to go back to those intelligence left there for us by ancestors and develop it. But rather, they captured our logic and say they like what is already there and begin to prepare some things for us with their machinery to drag these golden things instead of leaving us to think of our own intelligence, how to bring them from the soil. So you can see my point is, unless Africans, we dig into our own history, know who we are, think about ourselves, and be proud of ourselves that we can make it when we research it. When we go into our own soil, our own systems, and research what we want, we will get it. It doesn't matter, let it be inferior from the beginning. With time, it will become quality. When we keep ourselves researching into it. Is that not what is going on around the world? Who began making the automobile with the utmost quality from day one? No. Who began making those IMR machines at the hospitals with the utmost quality from day one? Nobody did. It was upon research. They made first ones, mistakes came, they corrected that. They came with the second ones, mistakes came, they corrected that. And now we have the artificial intelligence system. See, Africans, have we done that? No, we haven't. We are all the time depending on them. And we've made ourselves to depend on them. Now, let's go back to our system right now. People living overseas pride themselves over people who are living in the local land. We feel living overseas is a pride for us. when you go back to our system, and they regard you as somebody higher than those people in the local areas. This is how we pride ourselves. So you see, we've made ourselves inferior before them. We've let ourselves known that we are incapable. People who were capable, who could think deeply, when they came up, what did we do? We second them. Let me finish by giving an example of this Burkina Faso man, the guy who has just come up. My prayer is he did not get corrupt along the line. This is my prayer for this man. I'm always saying, Lord, help this guy to be steadfast, not to yield into corruption, or not to yield into people who want it faster than supposed to be. This is my prayer all the time. So he does not go corrupt. Otherwise, the ideas and things that he's putting forward, believe me, he's very unique and he's good. Look at how he uphold the currency for Burkina Faso, started with these virtual money systems. We live in a world which is now copy and paste system. Copy and paste, by what I mean, you don't have to go to Mr. B or Mr. A in his country and ask him to tell you how to build a house. No, you just look at what is there, go back home and copy it. You duplicate it in your mind. You go back home, then you put it on the ground there. Go to China, you find beautiful cities. In Japan, you have beautiful cities. Go to America, you have beautiful cities. London, beautiful cities. Germany, wherever you go, you can see that people have developed edifices based on their own way of thinking and have polished it to suit them. And they're looking nice and attractive. Why Africans, we have to wait for the Europeans to come and build their system on our land and cherish that? This is how we are. So we have made ourselves inferior before them. So no two ways. If they look down upon us, well, they are using what they have found within us upon us. So my brother, the question is, anti-Africa, we uphold our responsibility based on discipline. Listen to what I'm saying well. We have to uphold our responsibility based on discipline. Yes, and have confidence that we can do it. If we try it, or if we make it, we can do it. Yes, that responsibility based on discipline. Until we uphold that, my brother, well, like I said before, I don't know the generation which is going to come and build Africa the way that we want it. Because whatever we are doing in our system is still whimsical. We copy what they are doing and bring it to mount it in our system in one sector, then the other sector will still be trailing behind, and we mock them by cherishing what we've imported. That whimsical thing that we've imported, that's what we cherish. So that's my input, my brother. And
Yes.
yes, until we come together. Yeah.
So, if you're watching us, we've been speaking to the very affable, the opinionated Mr. Fred Gyekye Mensah. I mean, he's done justice to the topic, and to say that I'm impressed, I'm touched, is an understatement. He's really done justice to the subject matter, and like I said before, I align with him in most of the positions that he's espoused. He's really done justice to the system. If you're watching us, this is Jafric Radio, Esther and Jafric Radio Studios. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, put your comments and opinions in the comment section. Let us know what you think about what Mr. Fred Gyekye Mensah has said in the submission. This is where we draw the curtains down on today's program. Appreciations go to Mr. Fred Gyekye Mensah for his time and his candid opinions. I mean, he did this in the spirit of constructive criticisms on all the subjects or the topics that we spoke about. And if you think that you do not agree with him, let us know what you think in the comment section. And until we meet again, thank you very much. Stay out of trouble. If you're watching us from Japan, please stay out of trouble and respect the blue ticket. If you are riding bicycle in town, respect the blue ticket rules, because if you are caught, you'll be found wanting and you have to pay some money, hot money, that maybe probably you are not prepared for. Thank you very much and stay safe. Thank you to Mr. Fred Gyekye Mensah as well for his time that he's made for us this afternoon here in Japan. Until we meet again, sayonara. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye.